different from whatever has been talked so far. This deals with the requirement of the technology, the requirement of the growth of the country, and the requirement of all the knowledge that's available to be utilized for the most neglected part of the country's society is farmers. Why I have just taken up this topic is, this is a culmination of some of the experiences my students have shared with me. I am working for UXINDIA2014 Institute of Management in Hyderabad, which is a B school, and about more than 50% of the students come from Andhra Pradesh, that is Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand and UP. That is the basic spread. 15 states actually are there, the students. Most of them take loans and come, and most of them are farmers' children. Either the girl or the boy are farmers' children. I had just an experience with them when I talked. Based on that, the story has been created. This is a small story. Sorry. A small sugarcane farmer in Maharashtra, Bhau Kadam, and his family holds a 3-acre land, and basically his farming is becoming older, and he made both the sons educate, and they are working in Pune. And he would also like to sell off his farm and settle in Pune later, because he finds agriculture is not profitable and it's not sustainable. Why? Because there is hard work, it is non-remunerative, and it's difficult to get farm labor. So this is the situation in India today. And incidentally, we are talking of the country whose land size is the most arable in the entire world. That means India, which is around 6th or 7th largest land mass in the world, is the largest arable land in the world. But still, we are not able to make our farmers stick to the agriculture and stick to the remuneration that they get out of it. The reason is very clear. This is the state of village after village, state after the state, and this is the story of most farmers in India. However advanced we are, we need the food, and second green revolution we have been talking of last 10 years from the days of Congress government, we are not able to reach there. We got a software revolution, we got industrial revolution, we are able to get everything, but we are not able to still tackle. 30 years back in 1960s and 70s we had the Green Revolution 1, and that is sustaining our population even though it has doubled now. But the time is coming where it is told, if the Green Revolution 2 does not come, exactly by 2020 India will be a net importer of food, having the largest arable land in the world. So what I thought is, what is the reason for this and how we can go ahead and ensure that the farming community does not dwindle like what is in US. 4% of the population there is farming community, but here it is 55%. So if 55% of the farming community can even get reduced to 10% of the population, that means 10 crore people will be engaged in farming, and it's not a small solution. So what should we do to ensure that it doesn't fall below 10%? That is the basic reason with which this particular talk has been done. And basically, you need to understand the root cause of the problem has been found to be 50% farmers are in debt, and it is debt because they are not productive. Our productivity of farmland in the entire country is only 33% of the world's best farms that are available. And I am not talking of large farm sizes. I am talking of productivity per acreage. That means the technology that can be used is capable of coming into 1 acre lands also, 3 acre lands also, or 5 acre lands also. The average holding of Indian farmer is coming to about 5 acres. I am not talking of any great technology or large farmlanding or corporate farming here. So how do the farmers there even get this information? It is based on the integrated information decision making system. That's why my topic has been actually named as FAARED, far-eyed. That means I just got that particular idea. It is far-eyed means if 10 crore have to become the farmers in this country, it will not be before 2035. That means another 20 years this model can work. That's the basic thing. With that particular thing, we find IT is basically, IT is the only information solution which will be able to do. What is happening abroad is global positioning satellite systems. This India need not worry because we are a space power. We have landed in Mars, we have our own satellites. If we are able to get into that, what it can do is, it can inform the farmer regarding the status of his crop and which part of the farm there can be water, fertilizer and pesticide required. To that extent, it will be able to give. We have satellites that we are launching satellites, etc. So it's not a very great, difficult thing for us, nor it's a very costly thing, because Mars mission has cost us only 450 crores. So my proposition is not a very, very difficult proposition, budget-wise. Then, of late, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also actually recognized the importance of farming, and he says this less land, less time, more crop, kam zameen, kam samay, and zyada upaj. And per drop, more crop. It is said that water is going to be the next item for which world wars occur. In that context, India is very lucky to have had enough resource of water. If we properly utilize it, the largest arable land with good water source, we will be able to feed the entire world, not just our country. You imagine a situation where you will be able to treble your food production, and by the time you are able to do that, you can really take care of the famine countries that it can do. If you are giving food to the world, I think that's what US is doing today. Because they dump the food in the world. My generation has seen this country taking PL 480 wheat where they were dumping into the sea, and now we are in a position to give food to some people, but we are going back from that position slowly. So there is needing of a solution, and the solution lies in understanding how farmers make a decision. See, I am a management professor and we discuss what is known as decision making. Decision making, there are two important differences between a professional decision making in all the institutes, all the organizations, be it small industry or corporates, and between farmer and SMEs in this country. Organizational decision making are based on group decision makings, but the SME owners and the farmers are individual decision makers. Point number one. And point number two, they are not informed and they are not professional in nature. They are either technological in nature or they are just illiterate in nature. They know what they only can grow as farmers. They don't know anything else. So it is the basic duty of Indian scientists and the Indian society educated and the IT generation. How can we integrate and ensure that a farmer makes an integrated decision of all the inputs, the process and the outputs that are required, so that he will be able to feed us and he will be able to make India self-sufficient and feed the entire world. That is the basic crux of the topic that I have been discussing. And then the basic, how does the farmer decide? Farmer has internal and external factors for his decision making. The internal decision making is that the farmer thinks of his household, his children's education, and at maximum he will be thinking of owning a house in the village where they are staying. Now the things are entirely different. He is trying to move to the city, selling the house, and let me very frankly tell you, I come from Hyderabad. In 20% of the new real estate, either the gateway communities or the flats, 25% of the Gurkhas are ex-farmers. That is the situation. I don't think it will be difficult and similar anywhere else also, even here also. I think they come from villages, they sell off the land, educate the child, and they come here and settle down as Gurkhas or something else like that. So that is the situation, and which is very, very dangerous for us. We cannot afford farming community to be migrating into cities. It will create two problems. One is urbanization, and second is our resource of land will not be useful. We will be able to find high rises in even villages because they sell off the land and then they take the money and come here. And India will become net importer of the food, which will be a very bad condition. So in that particular situation, they these are the two main points that we need to understand. One is they are uninformed, they are individual decision makers, and they make the decision because they are small farmers. So these are the 3 points which we need to understand, and the farmer decision making projects will be, objectives will be, there is internal and external factors which I have already shown to you, and there is a research going on everywhere in the World Farmers Organization which has done, the farmer decision making is similar to the farmers elsewhere in the world. One similarity is an Indian farmer and an Indian industrialist are far different from each other in decision making, but an Indian farmer and an American farmer will be same in decision making. That's the biggest thing we need to understand, that farming decision making is not industrial decision making, it's not service decision making. So in the process, the research that has been abroad is also useful for our application. So the crops that are finally chosen differ between farmers, between villages based on their own objective. The same farmer with the same land in the same village may not be able to put, one puts rice, the other puts cash crop. Why? Because their objectives are entirely different. Maybe one farmer would like to have more money, he has a grown-up child, he wants to educate him, so he will experiment with a cash crop. And the farmer who is enough satisfied may go with rice or normal crops. So these are the decision-making differences which I will go straight to the decision model for the first planting season. There are actually 3 planting seasons in the entire country. The first crop planting season is a research done worldwide. Out of the 41 farmers that have been asked, is my land available for rice production for the first crop? 36 said yes. Is it a wetland price or is it dry land? And they took a decision. But all of you know what, once rice is grown, the water is squeezed. And hence, when it comes to the second decision making, is my land available for secondary crop? They say, go to crop selection process and I am not sure whether I am available for second process or not. This is the situation today in this particular farming community here. And other crops are already there, rice is not harvested yet, but it is too dry. That's the reason they go without rice. That's why you find this year, when it is rain fed, already the 17% is the shortfall in the crop during the first season. So because we are not very sure whether in the second area we will be able to attend to the rice or not. So our stocks, what we have been actually maintaining by the government, will come to the rescue for this year. And if next year no monsoon is there, then I think we are going to have our music. The third is, out of the selection of the crop for the second or the third, these are the basic things. The considerations are water, capital, knowledge, labor, and market demand or family consumption. You can see why I have put this model says, farmers' decision making is much more complex than what we have in industrial decision making. We have been talking of consumer marketing, we have been talking of inputs, outputs, innovations, everything we are talking, but farmer does not have resort to any of these models. He has, in India, most of the things are rain fed. So he is depending on God. He does not say, I have to innovate like this. And one thing is that so many experiments have been done, basically drip irrigation scheme, this irrigation scheme, etc., etc. Nothing could satisfy Indian farmers because the Indian models have been actually taken up from abroad. Either we have adopted an Israeli model of drip irrigation or we have adopted an American model. But we forgot that the biggest dairy model that we have adopted is the basic model that is ideal for many in African countries, that is the Amul model. So we need to develop a model which is very Indian in nature and what is available for us. So for that context, I feel the proposal that I am going to put up is very, very relevant. From the above typical decision-making models and combined with several uncertainties in input factors that are common in India, the decision of farmer is based on information will bring him nearer to reality and help him realizing his objectives. So with that, what is the need? Information access to farmers across the country for effective decision making and implementation is need of the hour. Now we are technologically growing. We have Aadhaar card. Similarly, why can't we give an ID card for the farmer which will give his farmland? I'm not talking of our regular requirements as any consumer. His farmland, geography, the nature of the soil and the weather conditions. If the geography is given, I would like that data to be used into the mobile app which I am going to provide. That's what is the basic model that I am thinking, so that if there are many, I'm skipping the slides so that I'm only talking about what's available here, in the sense, today there are isolated island type, state-wise initiatives on this regard. But the Planning Commission of India itself has accepted that there is no integrated platform in the country today which will be able to make a farmer in any part of the country to get the information of what he has there. Because each state is a separate entity in this country. That means one is dry land, one is wetland, one is totally a different type of crop, one is cash crop. So one thing is that if an integrated information is there, the same type of information useful from different parts of the country can be centralized, and the same technology, the same seeding, the same crop patterns, the same fertilizers, the same micronutrients, all of them can actually get as a pulled up information, and there will be an economy of scale. That's not there today. So I am proposing to have a common platform. There are many platforms, almost about 10 to 12 platforms that have been coming and they are closing down. That is simply because, as today the earlier people have put up, we are not going to user experience. We are designing our product and thinking it will sell. Instead of that, if we are able to understand from the farmer's shoes what he wants and design our product accordingly, I think it will be having much a better usage, and actually it will be more effective. Planning, this I have already dealt with. The user platform, it can be any, whether it is debatable whether it can be a laptop, computer app or it's a mobile app, but obviously the mobile penetration in this particular country is the largest, and even in villages. And then secondly, this is the time I am bringing this particular application simply because in India, the smartphones are also becoming slowly affordable. We hear news here and there that at 3,000, 5,000 you are able to get smartphones.
Farmers have smartphones.
Yeah, so it is becoming affordable. This idea would not have worked about 2-3 years back when the smartphones have not been invented. So this is the time now that we can start making apps meant for only farmers to get whatever is the information that on just pressing a app on a smartphone. That's the basic thing what we were thinking of. So, design process. I am not a designer. I am only a professor. I know what is theory. I know what are the experiences. Based on that, I just tried to take something from UX websites, and I tried to have participatory design process. That means be along with the farmers, understand them, or contextual design process. These were the buzzwords which I heard, so I have used it just without understanding them also. But design features app should be able to, what the app should be able to, I'm sorry for the color combination, store the relevant information. That's the very important part. It should be entirely storing the relevant information. The second thing is get auto connection to relevant nearest state, regional, national information center. Let us call anything. The platform is one, but based on the languages that is required, at every state let it be converted into the local language. And the third one is store required constant data like type of soil, patterns of immediately previous crops, etc. so that if the query is sent, the mobile itself will be able to send an SMS to the center, which is a data center, and they come back in turn as an SMS. And for the people, farmers who are illiterate, who can't read, let the SMS be converted into a voicemail and let it come in the form of voicemail output into the farmer so that he can understand whatever he wants. And the app should be able to store that information until he deletes it, that he doesn't require it. I mean, that's the basic idea what is running around. And then it is pass on the farmer queries through SMS, voicemail, that's what I said, receive, store, alert, and have other features that arise while designing the app. From user information features, there are many main and sub features. I would not like it to main features, but this is going to be the way. All of you heard of eShopal? How many of you heard of eShopal? It's an ITC initiative where they have large stores which buy farmers' produce and they sell on that credit whatever farm inputs are required. Actually, I am very privileged to be the friend of Dr. Shivkumar of ITC, who is based in Hyderabad, and he is the father of the design, and it is a very successful experiment that has taken place and is replicated in advanced countries also as an eShopal. This one, all of you can go to eShopal website, you will be able to understand that. So, with that eShopal, what we can get into this is crop planning, buying seeds, planting, and then basically the pricing and selling aspects also, in addition to harvesting and other things. All the informations can be available at a central data center which will be able to tell you where you are and what you have to do at each of these stages. And Chandrababu Naidu and KCR as the chief ministers, they have already shown there, and I think Modi is also there. You should be able to make the farmer not dependent on Food Corporation of India for your pricing by getting MSPs or something. You should be able to let your farmer sell him wherever in the world which gives him the highest price. Then only it will motivate the farmer actually to go into world market, and world agriculture also can recognize the Indian produce. That's where actually we need to understand. And user constraints for using the designed app. I could think of some constraints when you are designing an app is unavailability of a unified or integrated information system or a national or an international level. This could be easily done with Government of India and Ministry of State combinations. Platforms are there. What already I think about 8 states are having individually, if that can be experimented and they can be replicated in other parts of the state, it doesn't take much of a time. Because I think today data, information, I think are Indian buzzwords rather than world buzzwords. We should be able to have platforms connected. The second thing is communication infrastructure inadequacy. This is also being solved over a period of time. I think non-internet apps are also coming up in the mobile. So internet accessibility is not the only criteria. We could use any other type of things within a village or whatsoever. The third one is farmer literacy and affordability of mobile phones. All the solutions that have been given here are readying the app for availability throughout the nation, accelerating the integrated information platform, providing voice facility for illiterate farmers and local language facilitation, and making app for lower-end mobile phones, or now that may not be required because smartphones are there. These are the bibliography with which I have collected the above information, and that's what it is, a very primitive ideation stage. I thought that it may not be a design, it may not be a user interface, but at the same time I thought it's a apt thing that the youngsters of this nation can give to the nation back what development in agriculture is primary requirement of this nation today. Thank you.